January. So he's up front, but the 11 in full, 4 changes like Newcastle, same number. The goalkeeper is Mark Flecken, his first season at Brentford, brought in to replace David Raya, who made the loan move to Arsenal. At the back, Mads Roerslev. Matthias Jørgensen sometimes goes by the nickname of Zanka, so if you're looking at a team sheet or a squad list, it might just appear as Zanka, the former Huddersfield defender. And Ethan Pinnock, the other centre-back. Sergio Reguilon on loan from Spurs on the left side of the Brentford defence. In midfield, Matthias Jensen, who's making his 100th Premier League appearance, Christian Norgard and Vitaly Janelt. And then the front three, Bryan Mbeumo, who has 9 goals, the aforementioned Ivan Toney, who's actually gone 11 games without scoring, and Brentford's leading scorer this season with 11, and he got the injury time winner at Bournemouth last weekend in their 2-1 success on the south coast, Johan Wissa. The Brentford bench, the goalkeeper Hakon Baldimarsson, Neil Maupay, who's on loan from Everton, Kevin Schade, Saman Ghoddos, Keane Lewis Potter, Mikkel Damsgaard, Ryan Trevitt, Yehor Yarmolyuk and Yunus Konak. They are missing Christopher Ayer and Nathan Collins, 2 defenders who are not in the squad, and Keane Lewis Potter and Mikkel Damsgaard drop out of the team, and they are replaced by Roerslev, Jørgensen, Jensen and Wissa. Obviously Toney is their main man, but Newcastle have been linked recently to Bryan Mbeumo, who is forward player, left-sided. He's going to start on the right today, we think. So I'm going to put you on Bryan Mbeumo watch, and I want to know what you think about him. But he has been a really effective player for Brentford over the last couple of seasons in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's played a big part for them. Look, we've been linked with an awful lot of players. I'm not too sure how strong those links are with him, to be quite honest. But we'll see how he goes today and give a report, so to speak.
So that's how Brentford line up. In Newcastle, remember, Pope, Schär, Joelinton and Barnes come in for Dubravka, Trippier, Anderson and Gordon. No Gordon in the squad, but Wilson on the bench. And Newcastle, while they have everything to play for when it comes to Europe, Thomas Frank and his Brentford team, who were 9th last season, a top half Premier League side, are going to end this one in either 15th or 16th.
I think that this season has been a good success, because what is big success? I don't know, but good success. Every year you're in the Premier League is success if you are a club of our stature. I just hate saying it, because we want so much more. We want to be assets to the league, we want to dream big, we want to do something special, but even I am a very optimistic person and very positive, and I believe so much in this club, the staff and the players, and I want to dream big, that you never want to settle just staying in the league. I like to say that we were done it no matter what, but I understand your question. And I think that adds something to it, definitely, just to make sure that we are professional and respect the game and the league and all that. I also think it helps play at home. And then I think, going back to the culture we created together, I think they're just competitive. They just want to win the game. And also, when the tough gets tough, they still want to run. And I think that's key. I'm looking forward to it. I think anyhow, it's coaching staff, the players, I think they've done a good job again. It's the first time in how many years they played Champions League, and I think they very narrowly missed out on going through to the next round. How can you say, a performance in itself, and they missed out against Dortmund and PSG.
Thomas Frank, the Brentford manager, pretty complimentary about Newcastle and the work that Eddie Howe has been doing. Did you read this weekend, or did you see that report linking Thomas Frank to Manchester United? If Erik ten Hag gets the boot in the summer.
I've seen quite a few people linked to Manchester United from a managerial point of view. Look, he's done a great job here. There's no doubt about it. Even though in the position they're in at the wrong end of the table. They were never, I don't think they were really ever in any danger of getting sucked into a relegation fight. You know, he's had his injury problems as well. I mean, obviously the Tony situation here didn't help him either, really. But yeah, since coming in and taking over at Brentford, he's done a smashing job.
You listen to BBC Radio Newcastle. We've brought you commentary on every single Newcastle United match this season, and next year we will do it all again. Remember, we'll have a phone in after the game today with Ando, so you can call in at full time to discuss the match, discuss the season, and possibly Europe next year. Get in touch with us at any point during the match on WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Put BBC at the start of your message, and between 6 and 7 after the game we'll bring you some reaction from the Newcastle United dressing room to the 51st and final game of a season that will see Eddie Howe's side finish either 6th, 7th or 8th.
It's been, I think, a really good season. I think we've enjoyed it. We're frustrated with it as well. I think we'll look back with a tinge of what could have been in lots of different aspects, whether you're talking the FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Champions League, Premier League. I think we've done okay. I think we've done well, but we could have been so different. I think it could have been even more memorable, and so that will be a frustration that will live with me. But you have to quickly leave it behind and look forward to next year and to next summer, because there's always another opportunity, and we have to learn the lessons, and there's been loads of them this year that we can improve as a football club, and that's what we're trying to do.
Brentford are quite low down the table, but they've got a big gap between them and the relegation places, so they haven't done as well as they did last year when I think they ended 9th in the standings. But what do you make of them, and what are you expecting from them as your opponents?
Well, I think whenever you play Brentford, you know it's going to be a difficult game. Thomas has done a very good job. He's had to navigate a difficult season when you consider the suspension to Tony, and we're experiencing that ourselves, and that's never an easy thing to go through. I think they're always tough opponents physically, very strong team, very good from set plays. They've got some dangerous players as well, so coming into some good form at the back end of the season, we know that we're going to have to be at our best.
Total Sport North East.
Matthew Raisbeck and black and white legend John Anderson.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Almost there. 5 minutes to go until they get started in their final match of the 2023-24 campaign. I mentioned this one earlier, Ando, but they are going to finish in the top half of the Premier League in consecutive seasons for the first time since the Sir Bobby Robson era, when they did it 3 years in a row, finishing 4th, 3rd and 5th in 2002, 2003 and 2004 respectively. The 5th place finish in 2004 was seen as a major disappointment compared to what had gone on in the previous 2 years, but it is a measure of progress, isn't it, even if this season hasn't been as good as last year in terms of Premier League results and points.
Yeah,
Newcastle United now again are a top half team. They could be a European team again next season, having played in the Champions League this year. And there are some people who hold the view that maybe if you'd swap the 2 seasons around, it would give you, people would be happier with that, because they would be, the success would be more in a straight line.
Probably so. But look at the progression since the new owners came in and since Eddie Howe came in is there for all to see. Look, obviously this season not as successful as last season, a lot of people will say, because obviously finishing the Champions League spot, getting to a cup final. This season we've got the 2 quarter-finals in the domestic cups. We've still got an opportunity to play European football next season. It's been a strange season with everything that's been going on with injuries and suspensions and one thing and another. So yeah, the progression is there. It's on an upward curve, and long may that continue.
Do you fancy them to win today and get their part of the job done? Because whatever happens, they are going to rely on a favour from someone, aren't they, or need to?
I think it's a real tough one to call, to be quite honest. When you look at our away form, you would have worries. I think I don't think you can come into this game and be really overconfident that we're going to win it, because our away form has been so dismal, I suppose. Played probably the poorest Manchester United side that you'll see in, I don't know, a long time. Really thought we could go to Old Trafford and win, and we got done, because we basically didn't defend properly. Now, if we defend the way that we defended at Old Trafford here today, we'll get beaten. It's as simple as that. I mean, there's an awful lot riding on it. There's pressure on this game. We've got to go and do our job, but you're relying on other people as well. So I just think it's a tough one to call, Razor. I really do.
Here are the two teams. Big Dan Burn, the skipper, leading out Newcastle United in their green away kit with white shorts and white socks. Pope all in yellow. Brentford red shirts, red and white striped shirts with red sleeves, black shorts and black socks, and goalkeeper Flecken wearing a pinky purple number, and the referee and his assistants all in black. And the referee they've been given today is Simon Hooper from Wiltshire. It's his third Newcastle fixture this season after Chelsea at home, which they won, and then the FA Cup quarter-final defeat at Manchester City. Adrian Holmes and Simon Long are the assistants. Gavin Ward, fourth official. And on VAR today, Paul Tierney, assisted by Natalie Aspinall. It's Brentford versus Newcastle United. Not the first time this season that they've needed a result plus some help from elsewhere, because you'll remember the situation in the final round of Champions League games in December when, despite getting a favour from Dortmund against PSG, the home defeat by Milan sent them out and out of Europe entirely. Today, Chelsea in 6th have Bournemouth at home, and Manchester United in 8th, level on points with Newcastle, are at Brighton. So will Eddie Howe on the touchline be across what Newcastle's rivals are doing?
We'll obviously have someone doing that. I personally won't. I'll be across our game and making sure, giving everything to try and get the right result. But if of course there's a time where we need to manage the game in any way, I'll get that information to them. Our objective is to try and win the Brentford game. That's it. That won't change regardless of results. We'll still try and win the game. Now, of course, you have to be aware. You have to be across things that might directly influence your game and what you need to do. But I've got no regrets from the Milan game. We believe in a brave approach, an aggressive approach. You can see that with how we play. Wherever we go, we're trying to win matches, and that won't change.
Yeah, it's probably what you expected him to say, Ando. A member of staff will be looking at the other matches, but as long as Newcastle match what Manchester United do, then they know it goes down at least to the FA Cup final, and if they win and Chelsea lose, then they'll be 6th, which guarantees.
There's a lot of ifs there.
Yeah,
an awful lot of ifs there. Look,
do you think the fact it's so complicated matters in any way? It's not a simple case of avoid defeat and you're in, or they could even lose and still get through if Manchester United lose.
I don't think they can be worried about anybody else though, Razor. I think they've got to concentrate on their own performance, on their own game, make sure that they win here today, and whatever goes on elsewhere, it'll be what it is. But I think first and foremost, just concentrate on ourselves.
Good noise now inside the G-Tech Community Stadium. Hey Judah, a favourite of Brentford fans, and it's one we hear at St James's Park as well. So the away supporters are all joining in. Applauded by Fabian Schär as Newcastle break from their huddle. Pope in goal, Kraft, Schär, Byrne, Hall, Longstaff, Bruno, Joelinton, Murphy, Barnes and Isak, who's going to kick off in a second. Brentford, Flecken the keeper, Roerslev, Jørgensen, Pinnock and Reguilon, Jensen, Norgard and Janelt, and Burmo, Wissa and Tony. And Newcastle's bench, Dubravka, Dummett, Wilson, Ritchie, Trippier, Almiron, Anderson, White and Alex Murphy. No Gordon today. Final round of Premier League fixtures. There is a title to be won elsewhere, but this is all about qualification for Europe, either the Conference League or the Europa League, and Newcastle United have kicked off and are underway on BBC Radio Newcastle and NUFC TV. Plenty of end-of-season scenarios, just got to do their job, and Eddie Howe, with his arms behind his back, all in black on the touchline, watching on as they give away a free kick on the far side next to the halfway line. Newcastle defending the goal to our right, close to the away corner. Reguilon clips it forwards. They've got a couple of runners. Pope's come off his line. It's taken out wide and now swung in by Janelt. Tony back to goal, takes a touch, overhead kick over the bar.
Yeah, that was very optimistic. He was off balance. There was a player coming to him, could have laid it back, but he's gone for the overhead kick. Didn't get it right, did he?
We heard in our build-up to the match the penalty he scored last season was given after a long VAR check. He also had one saved.
Yeah, he did.
By Nick Pope before that in the game, and that's the only penalty in the Premier League that he hasn't scored. Here in Newcastle, Harvey Barnes, edge of the area, tried to get between two defenders. It was a bouncing ball. Brentford have dealt with it. Now Reguilon forced back to goalkeeper Flecken. Pressure from Murphy. Rolled forwards to Jurgensen. His pass to the feet of Roerslev. Helped on there by Jensen, and Mbermo's away into the penalty area. Ivan Toney to tap in for Toney. And Brentford take a very early lead. Newcastle opened up on the near side, and Mbermo got away, rolled it into the centre, and Toney into the bottom corner. Not what they needed, the worst possible start. Ivan Toney, who else? Brentford 1, Newcastle United 0.
I think there could be an offside here. Just want to see again. He's offside. I think he's offside. I think Mbermo was offside.
Toney isn't. The ball's gone backwards.
Ball's
anyway.
gone backwards.
Yeah. The referee, Simon Hooper, has picked the ball up, and Newcastle and Brentford players are asking the question. We are just waiting to see what VAR Paul Tierney advises. We haven't been shown the replay with the lines drawn across the pitch for offsides. If it stands, Brentford will lead 1-0. Mbermo from the right into the centre, Toney into the net. The referee still has the ball. VAR graphics are now on the giant screen on the top of the stand on the far side, and we are still in a state of limbo. We don't know. Now the referee
Offside.
is told that it's offside and the goal will not stand. And it's what Newcastle needed to hear. It's the news they wanted, but it's a let-off. And they've given the offside against Jensen for the ball onto Mbermo, according to the VAR information. So it's still 0-0, and we're playing again. Joelinton on the charge up the left. Barnes looking for Joelinton again, and Mbermo's got it back. Bruno makes a challenge, and Joelinton onto Jacob Murphy. Could hit this, Murphy. He does hit it, and it's a dipping shot that goes wide of Flecken's right-hand post.
Yeah, it's always drifting, isn't it? Decent enough hit. Never troubling the goalkeeper.
Scored from similar range at Chelsea. One that flew into the top corner and got nominated for goal of the month in March, but off target there. We can tell you about another goal. Burnley relegated, losing 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. And it's
Chris Wood.
Chris Wood, the former Newcastle player and formerly of Burnley, who's given Forest the lead at Turf Moor. And Manchester City, if they win, will be champions. And through Phil Foden, they lead West Ham 1-0. Bruno in midfield. It's overrun it. Wissa, Brentford's top scorer, back in the team. Ball back to Jurgensen near to the centre circle. Mbermo tries to flick it for Jensen in the box. Joelinton's done well to cover. He got it away. Barnes couldn't hold it. Norgard now to Jensen. And back again. Reguilon making a run far side. Once it's switched, it's Vitaly Janelt, the German, Brentford's player of the season, as voted for by his teammates. Janelt, it's on it again, finds Roerslev. Dan Burn heads behind.
Bright start by the home side, isn't it?
Eddie Howe's just taken a pen out of his pocket and is writing some notes. He's gone back to the bench to talk to Jason Tindall. Reguilon from left back to the right side of the attack to take the corner. Newcastle defending. Away to our right, Bruno front post. Brentford players now, 3 of them, into the 6-yard box. Here's the in-swinging corner. Tony goes for it, but it's headed away by Sean Longstaff, who got up well. Comes back in for Brentford from Janelt, too high.
It's awful.
Nick Pope has a goal kick to take. First time he's played since going off injured on the 2nd of December against Manchester United. He's been on the bench for the last 3, Pope. His 15th Premier League appearance of the campaign. It's a goal kick, a long one through the middle, over halfway, looking for Barnes. Headed on by Barnes, but Isak made the run beyond, and the header went to where Isak had started his run, but he had vacated that spot. Brentford's clearance straight to Emil Kraft at right back for Newcastle today. And here's Fabian Schär on the halfway line. Longstaff making a run up the line. It's clipped forwards to Murphy, headed down towards Longstaff, inside to Bruno, 30 yards out. Isak edge of the area, helps it out to Barnes, off a touch from a Brentford defender. And they've managed to clear it for a Newcastle throw, which Lewis Hall has taken 15 yards out to Joelinton. He's got Jensen on his shoulder, back into his own half to Burn. Burns ball forward, blocked by Tony. Here's Bruno, back to Schär, middle of Newcastle's half. Forwards looking for Murphy. Reguilon chests it. And the Spanish international, who played at St James's Park for Manchester United on loan in the first half of the season, into the centre of defence. Now up the right wing from Brentford. Hall's won it. Joelinton to Longstaff, and Murphy to chase after the ball into space. Reguilon slides in.
Good tackle, wasn't it?
Throw.
Yeah, good tackle.
Ball back in play with Newcastle United in the attacking half. Emil Kraft. Fabian Schär, furthest outfield player back. Dan Burn is inside. He gets it from the front of the centre circle, plays it to Hall. Burn on it again, square to Hall. Oh, it's a miscontrol from Hall, and Mbermo's away. Tony in the middle, Brian Mbermo, Ivan Toney, saved by the foot of Nick Pope. And Burn to Barnes as they try to get up the pitch, Newcastle. Barnes has beaten his man and kept it in on the touchline. Brentford win it back from him. The ball from Burn, Ando to Hall.
Yeah,
it just
was
come
a poor
off his
ball.
studs.
It was a poor ball.
And Mbermo got away.
Yeah, Tony should have scored. Just sticks a leg out. He's got nothing on the shot, but it's a big, big chance.
Brentford have it now on halfway. It was overhit, wasn't it, from Burn to Hall?
Yeah, just overhit behind him.
Tony had stayed onside, but he shot straight at Pope. Now a floated cross from the Brentford left, which Pope catches near to the penalty spot. And it's Brentford 0, Newcastle United 0. We've already played 9.5 minutes. Home team have had one disallowed after a VAR call for offside. Newcastle, one effort wide of goal from Jacob Murphy. Alexander Isak taking on defenders on the right wing, gets away from them. It's brilliant from Isak into the area.
Oh, what a chance!
Joelinton
got to
at
score.
the back post.
Many of them do we see him miss.
6 yards out. Joelinton had to hit the net, and he's dragged it wide. What a chance for the opening goal.
Seen him miss some of them, man. Dear oh dear. It's an open goal.
There's a defender who falls or slips on the 6 yard line. as he tries to clear it. I don't know if in any way that's contributed to Joe Linton skewing it wide. Has it come off his heel? Looks like it kind of... It's not the right connection. Should have scored. Don't get many better opportunities than that. Bruno's won it back in midfield. Isak taken down close to the corner of the box on the right. They've got a free kick. Oh, but what a chance.
Huge chance.
Do you know what it reminded me of? Remember the header in Dortmund?
Yeah.
Obviously this was on the floor, similar sort of position, wide of the same
But he's coming onto it.
Yeah.
All the goal to hit. Puts it wide.
BBC Radio Newcastle. Still 0-0. Crystal Palace lead 1-0 against Aston Villa. Jean-Philippe Mateta, who's in incredible form, and scored against Newcastle last month. The big striker, he's scored the goal. Free kick then. Between 20 and 25 yards out. Close to the corner of the box, but within the width of the 18-yard line. Hall and Murphy next to it. Jacob Murphy lifts it in. Brentford head it square, and then Tony volleys it away. Murphy deep in the Brentford half, collects, goes back to Kraft in front of the halfway line. Kraft looks for a pass out to the near side to Fabian Schär. Jensen for Brentford. Jørgensen now to Roerslev. And away by Jørgensen. Schär then puts it back into the penalty box, but there's nobody there in Newcastle green. And Flekken, the Dutch international goalkeeper, picks it up with his purple kit and his luminous orange gloves and boots that match. Very bright. Maybe it's to put opposing strikers and midfielders like Joe Linton off. If it is, it works.
Well, he was nowhere near Joe Linton. Joe Linton couldn't see him.
Lewis Hall for Newcastle. They've got the ball back. Byrne, right-footed into the box to Pope. And diagonal ball to Kraft. He's gone for the long ball up the line. Look, Murphy started to go and then held his run. And Longstaff, breaking from midfield, was on the move but had no chance of getting there. Brentford throw back to the keeper. This is Norgard. Isak on his shoulder. Back to Pinnock. He was named the Brentford Supporters Player of the Year. And Newcastle only had one Player of the Year. Officially, it's Anthony Gordon, but not in the squad today because of injury. Callum Wilson back on the bench. 14 minutes played, 0-0. Norgard to Pinnock. Wissa's dropped into a hole in midfield and is pushed over by Bruno. He's taking a quick free kick. Byrne watching it, hooks it over his shoulder. Hall gets there before Roerslev. Pope had started to come as well, but they've defended the situation just about Newcastle. Byrne then plays an attempted clearance off the shins of Johan Wissa, and they have a goal kick.
Yeah, it's all a little bit scrappy, isn't it? A little bit scrappy.
All the noise coming from the away fans. Nick Pope has got his two centre-halves in the box, but they're making their way up the pitch now because it's a long goal kick. Isak climbs, Barnes might get onto it. Roerslev covering, wins the header. Reguilon nods away into midfield, and it's Janelt. Plays it back to his goalkeeper under pressure. Flekken to Pinnock. Tony is deep in the centre circle, moved on to Wissa. Tripped, was he? No, Brentford appeals. Joe Linton got the ball, says the referee, and Lewis Hall looking to roll it in behind for Isak, but it's straight at Jørgensen. Isak wanted a better ball. Newcastle lose possession as they try to break quickly, and it remains 0-0. In the race for fifth Spurs, through Dejan Kulusevski, lead 1-0 at Sheffield United. A point for Spurs will see them finish 5th ahead of Chelsea, should Chelsea win. What do you make of the opening exchanges, John Anderson?
I think we've grown into it a little bit. Brentford started well, had the goal disallowed, had another big chance, but then the Joe Linton chance is unbelievable though.
Goal disallowed for Ivan Toney and Joe Linton, with what should have been a tap in left side of the goal, 6 yards out. He put it wide. It's BBC Radio Newcastle, and possession for Brentford with Vitaly Janelt, big German midfielder. Now Jørgensen to Mbermo, inside to Jensen, a white hairband on and a top knot. Matthias Jensen wearing number 8. It's drifted out to this near side, and now Mbermo and Wissa drop in as they play it to the left wing to Reguilon. Roeslev making a run, 1-6 switch. Norgard goes back to Pinnock, and Jørgensen,
oh dear,
tried to chip it in behind for Roeslev, who wanted the diagonal ball initially, but it still held a decent position, but the through ball was overhit.
Yeah, it's a poor ball, isn't it? It just needs to be dinked, and he just drills it, gives the fullback absolutely no chance.
Chris Wood scored a second for Forest at his old club Burnley. It's 2-0. Joe Linton wants a free kick. It's not going to get anything. It's a Brentford throw next to the halfway line, and Chelsea are winning. So if Chelsea get at least a point today, Newcastle will be unable to overtake them and finish 6th. Chelsea 1, Bournemouth 0. I think it's Moises Caicedo who has scored at Stamford Bridge. Roeslev on the right, middle of his own half. Norgard caught by Bruno, and we've just heard the referee's whistle.
Soft.
Free kick given to the Bees. Unbeaten in their last 5 home games, but 4 of them have finished as draws. Their one win was over Sheffield United. Reguilon on the attack, taking on Kraft on the outside. The cross hits the heels of Emil Kraft, and it's cleared up to halfway. Pinnock to Norgard, back to halfway to Jørgensen. 19th minute on BBC Radio Newcastle. Pinnock up the left wing and inside from Reguilon, away by Shea.
Oh dear. Straight
to Brentford, who give it to Bruno. Newcastle have it back. Joe Linton to Bruno, and tripped in the centre circle. Free kick awarded to Newcastle by referee Simon Hooper. They've taken it immediately. Jacob Murphy on the right wing. Longstaff has gone beyond. They go inside to Bruno, 25 yards out. Murphy's made a run, gets it in the penalty area and wins. Well, it's a goal kick. Looked like he'd won a corner. That was the Newcastle appeal.
Good little ball, wasn't it? Guimaraes treads one.
So the defender must have played it off.
Good defending. Yeah, no complaints from Murphy either. So
they look towards the corner, but Murphy, who made the run, got on the end of the ball. It was a good position. Saw the situation defended well by Brentford. 0-0. Share with a header over halfway. Reguilon back into Newcastle territory. Wissa, the Democratic Republic of Congo international, plays it back, and now they've started again with goalkeeper Mark Flecken along the floor to the feet of Mads Roeslev. He's been a regular at right back, or right wing back, on the Brentford team this year. Norgard along the halfway line to Janelt, and Reguilon seen a lot of the ball, the left back. Wissa takes it back towards the halfway line. Norgard to Janelt. It's still 0-0 in the 21st minute. And Burmo, nice control, a spin, and then a pass square to Jensen out on the right. And for the last minute or so, Newcastle without the ball, but Lewis Hall stepped in to win it back and linked up well with Joelinton. Harvey Barnes on the move, Isak ahead, Hall in there as well. Barnes gets to the edge of the box, plays it out left, and Isak just keeps it in on the goal line. The attack's still very much alive for Newcastle. Isak back to Hall, now Joelinton, touched off for Bruno, 30 yards out, central position. Kraft, as they play it over to the right wing. Murphy takes it on, into Bruno again, digs out the cross, headed into the top corner. Harvey Barnes is there to give Newcastle United what could be a vital lead. The ball clipped into the box and Barnes made a good run, connected with it, and the header makes it Brentford 0, Newcastle United 1.
So simple, wasn't it? Little dink ball, centre backs as we see it at Old Trafford not picking up. It's free header. Free header, he's not missing that. So much time. Brentford just drop off, don't close down. Little ball played in, free header.
In between two defenders, he was well onside. Barnes. Bruno's delivery, which is his 9th assist of the season. And Barnes has his 5th goal in a Newcastle shirt, and one of the 4 players brought in today scores in the 22nd minute, and they lead 1-0, and Bruno responds to the crowd who are singing his name, waves his arms up and down at the away fans. Just what they needed, Andy.
Yeah, not a great deal in the game. Started poorly, Brentford had the chance, didn't take it, and it's just a simple goal.
And the Premier League record here is fantastic. And having survived the early scare with the VAR intervention to disallow Brentford's goal, they are 1-0 up, and Barnes, the goal scorer, gets away from a couple of players on the halfway line, then overruns it, and Burmo dispossessed by Joelinton. Newcastle on the attack again. Barnes wins a throw. Meanwhile, 2-0 to Manchester City against West Ham. Looks like the title is going to stay at the Etihad Stadium. Is it Phil Foden again?
Yeah.
Player of the year.
Don't think too many would argue with that.
Isak slips as he tries to play the ball out to the right wing, but there's a handball by Johan Wissa. Free kick given to United. Chelsea winning, Newcastle winning, so it's as you were in the table. And here's Bruno into the box, ball from Kraft to find him, plays it back, Murphy, blocked shot, and it's gone for a throw. It hit the pole with the corner flag on it and went to the right hand side and out. Throw quickly taken by Kraft. Bruno. Murphy lining up a left-footed shot, spilled by Flecken, but he gathers at the second attempt.
So much time to hit it. Brentford just stepping off, they're not picking anybody up in midfield.
Cry of Geordies to the tune of Hey Jude. The team leading 1-0, Brentford playing it out from the back. A high press, the squeeze is on. Barnes on Roeslev, wins it on the touchline, into the box to Isak, who takes a touch. Still Isak, played back and deflected and into
offside.
The net. But Sean Longstaff's goal's not going to count because there's an offside flag up on the far side.
Brentford are asleep. Trying to play out, not working, getting squeezed, and they keep doing it.
Well, we're just going to see this one again. Isak is. Ooh, is he? Definitely with the defender in the middle, he is behind. But it's the one on the near side The referee's just saying wait. Is it Jurgensen possibly? They just cut back to some close-ups of players on our replay screen. VAR is checking. Look, it is Jurgensen, isn't it? That's the player that they're wondering about, whether Isak could be level. So there is a VAR check, a full VAR check in progress with Paul Tierney. He's already disallowed a Brentford goal for offside. He could be level, and that would mean he's onside.
Well, we'll wait and see.
Simon Hooper, the referee, telling players to wait.
No, he's offside.
They say, yeah, he's offside. But they've drawn the line.
You're getting people's hopes up, Razor. You're getting people all excited. You've got to wait.
Yeah, you've got to wait, but we've got to talk through it. And they drew a line on. It is pretty tight.
Well, obviously it wasn't, because he's given offside.
That's why it took so long. Oh, Flecken! It's gone under his studs and clears from the goal line.
I've never fancied this keeper. Gave the penalty away at St James's earlier in the season. Doesn't fill you with confidence.
It's a throw for Newcastle on the left wing. Hopefully that disallowed goal won't be costly. Spurs winning, so they're in 5th. Chelsea winning against Bournemouth.
Loads of room again.
And Newcastle winning. 0-0 Brighton, Man United. Joelinton to Hall. Can't go up the line, has to come back, but they're close to the edge of the penalty area. This is Bruno. Isak's drifted out left. Joelinton back to Hall. Centre of Brentford's half. A lot of red and white shirts back, not a lot of space, and the pass from Hall is to Burn in the Newcastle half. And they give it back to Nick Pope here. Long ball towards Jacob Murphy. Reguilon's header. Bruno to Isak, can't hold it. Janelt slipped but managed to find a teammate. Then Norgard and Wissa exchange passes, and it's Jensen pulled back by Joelinton.
It's going to be
pushed
a yellow
over
card.
by Joelinton.
It's going to be a yellow card.
Referee says it's 2 fouls.
How many pulls did he have on him?
And he gives him a yellow card, and Eddie Howe does not look happy, but I think that's with Joelinton, because you cannot complain about the referee's decision.
Almost takes his head off.
He's missed a sitter. Now he's been yellow carded on his first start. Joelinton since January. Newcastle lead 1-0. Both teams have had one disallowed for offside. Cher with a header clear from the free kick. Then Big Dan Burn gets his boot to the ball. Murphy level with the edge of the penalty box. Plays it against a red and white shirt, and it's a goal kick. 29th minute. How do you feel that the match has progressed and developed?
I think since the goal we've been on top, we've been the better side. Brentford giving us far too much space, not getting close in midfield.
Nick Pope in front of his left-hand post. Another long goal kick. Isak climbs, bounces away from him. Barnes tries to get there. Header up from Norgard and away by Pinnock. Burns got it. Square to Cher, 5 yards in front of the box.
There's that space again.
Progressive pass.
So much room.
Longstaff's got it, and he's fed Murphy. First time ball into the area, cleared. They looked for Isak. Space between the lines. Longstaff got it there from Cher's ball. Now Longstaff edge of the area to Isak. Gets away from red shirt. Still Isak. Forced out wide. Murphy high ball to the back post. Barnes with a header straight to Mbermo and nodded out to the near side. Hall keeps it in. Into midfield to Bruno. On top here Newcastle, 1-0 up, looking for a second. Kraft back inside to Bruno, loads of room just outside the area, and a through ball that Longstaff just can't take.
Getting so much space in the middle of the park. Nobody's getting close to our midfield players. They've got time to have a touch, get their head up, have a look. Not getting closed down by any red and white shirts. just dominating the ball at the moment.
Arsenal 0, Everton 0, Newcastle 1 up here. Goalless Brighton, Man United, which is helpful, but if Newcastle win, it's immaterial. Forest through 2 Chris Wood goals lead at Burnley. Chelsea are 1-0 up against Bournemouth. Crystal Palace lead Villa at Selhurst Park. Liverpool, Wolves, Luton, Fulham are goalless. Manchester City have got a grip on the title, 2-0 up on West Ham, and Spurs lead 1-0 at Sheffield United. All the matches on the final day of the season kick off at the same time. The Caicedo goal for Chelsea, Ando, scored from the halfway line. So that's one to watch on Match of the Day tonight. And Nelson Semedo has been sent off for Wolves at Liverpool after a VAR check in Jurgen Klopp's final match as Liverpool manager. While we've been going through the scores, we've missed no action. Brentford have had the ball and they've still got it in their half. They find space with Reguilon galloping forwards, giving it away to Dan Burn, who moved over to right centre-back to intercept. He's passed it to Longstaff. Good ball by Murphy. Bruno's got space, left side of central midfield. Up to Isak, flicked back to Bruno, and then played towards the goal line for Murphy. Can he keep it in? No.
Norgaard's just strolling around. He's not getting close to anybody. Brentford are poor on the ball.
Good effort from Murphy to try and keep that one in. It's Brentford 0, Newcastle United 1 after 32 minutes. And Flecken, they signed him from Freiburg last summer, £11 million. I mentioned earlier he was David Raya's replacement. And now at Arsenal on loan. He's taken the goal kick, and Newcastle have it back in midfield. That's a good ball by Joelinton. Lifted, curled over to Kraft. Longstaff inside 5 yards. He gets it. They're in the Brentford half, but they come back to the halfway line, and Dan Burn, square to Lewis Hall, drifts into the centre circle, drops his shoulder away from Norgaard. It's a good run by Hall. He's passed it straight to Reguilon, looking for either Longstaff or Murphy. Norgaard strolling around again, and Hall got away from him with ease, yeah. Now Isak gets a little touch on a clearance, and it's a throw in the right back position for Thomas Frank's team. Into the box to Pinnock, who let it come and just released it, with Murphy charging towards him. Reguilon sprints into the Newcastle half and then plays the ball inside, and it's Wissa in the centre circle to Roerslev, the blonde-haired defender, looking for Mbermo, knocks it around Hall, but well covered by Harvey Barnes, and a back pass to Nick Pope, who has a touch and then clears it, and Roerslev with the header. Jensen for Brentford, and now Mbermo. They can stay on the attack. Matthias Jensen challenged by Joelinton, and Mbermo then with a flick. Joelinton with another tackle. Referee quite rightly says he got the ball. Joelinton over the top. Isak's onto it. Alexander Isak into the penalty area. Jurgensen to beat. Isak has played it towards
offside.
Teammate, and now a flag comes up. It was Lewis Hall who was in the box. What a run from left back, but the flag went up. Referee let it go because Brentford had it, and they clear it. And now Dan Burn sticks it out as Joelinton sits down and has a problem and may require some treatment. 1-0 Newcastle, plenty happening there.
Yeah, he looked offside as soon as the ball gets played. You look at the linesman and they wait. Joelinton's told to get up, and he's getting a right warning from the referee.
And Isak was offside from the ball.
Well, the flag wouldn't have went up if he wasn't, would it?
That's what we always say. Although the flag didn't go up for Brentford's disallowed goal, but that's why we have VAR.
Exactly.
And that's why it works so well all the time. Now Joelinton's back up, he's all right. There is a conversation on the touchline between Jason Tyndall and the physio Sean Beach. The physio's sitting down again. Thomas Frank, the Brentford boss, is clapping and applauding his players and communicating verbally with some of them. Thomas Frank's in a polo shirt. Eddie Howe's got like one of those base layers, an undershirt on and a t-shirt, and he feels a bit overdressed in this weather.
It's not that cold, yeah.
He's wearing black as well, so he will feel it.
Yeah.
Newcastle throw just behind halfway, near side. Byrne received it from Hall. Oh, it's a slip from the defender. Isak gets away. There's another covering player. He's got it in the penalty box. Squares it. It's turned in. They've got a second goal. The cross from Isak converted by Jacob Murphy, who has his third goal of the season. A slip from Brentford. Isak got after it. Couldn't finish the chance himself, but laid it on a plate for Murphy at the back stick, who put it into the net. And it's Brentford 0, Newcastle United 2.
Was it Pinnock? It's absolutely awful. It's a straightforward ball, doesn't control it. From that moment on, they're in big trouble.
Oh, tried to chest it.
Dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear.
That's a good ball across, isn't it? Because it's in an area where the keeper has a problem.
Yeah,
because
keeper
he sort
can't
of comes, but doesn't want to dive for it. And Murphy 6 yards out when he taps it in, back post.
Yeah, not going to miss, but it's calamity defended. It's absolutely awful.
A first half that began with an early Brentford goal that was chalked off by VAR has now seen Newcastle score 2 goals that have counted and have another ruled out themselves for offside. 38 minutes. Barnes with a header, Murphy with a tap in. They lead 2-0. Murphy's won the ball back on the far side. Bruno onto Alexander Isak. It's 3. They are running away with it, and in a match that they need to win to make sure they are in the mix for Europe come the final whistle on their season. They have a 3-0 advantage before half-time.
Well, yet again, Reguilon on this occasion just leaves the ball behind, gives it straight to Murphy. Keystone Cops, isn't it? Keystone Cops defended.
Onside from Bruno's pass, right-footed across goal and into the bottom left corner. Isak, 25th goal of the season, 21st in the Premier League, and Newcastle lead 3-0.
Game over.
They love it here at the Brentford Community Stadium, or the G-Tech Community Stadium, for sponsorship reasons. Their tune tops are off and are being twirled around in the sunshine and by those in the shade in the corner far side. Brentford 5th bottom, and they probably just want their season to end.
They want this game to end.
We're only in the 39th minute. Manchester United are drawing with Brighton, but even if they win, if Newcastle stay in charge like this, it won't matter, at least in terms of 7th. Byrne with a clearance from Mbermo's cross. It's out for a throw.
Oh, they've given it away again.
Crossfield ball to Jacob Murphy. He's enjoying himself, Murphy. He's on his way into Brentford's half. Isak up the line. Murphy's carried it about 80 yards and then crossed straight to the edge of the penalty area, and it's Jensen who gets it for Brentford. Cher challenges with Tony and has fouled him, although Cher says he got the ball, but the referee says he was holding Tony.
Can't see from here.
Our screen is being affected by the sunshine.
Just has it around the neck, hasn't he?
So you can't really see too clearly, but it did look as if Cher was holding. It did. Chipped up to the...
Look at the amount of green shorts in there. Nobody near them.
So chipped up towards the Brentford forward line. Newcastle away and then back to Pope. Under pressure from Wissa. Out to Share. And now with Kraft. More goals going in elsewhere in the Premier League. But importantly, Brentford 0. Newcastle United 3. Barnes, Murphy and Isak. They've had one disallowed, as have Brentford. And Joe Linton's also missed a sitter. This is Isak in the half space. He's dropped off into midfield. He's been tackled. Longstaff tries to win it. Brentford have it. And now Tony on his chest. Big Dan Burn up. And then into a challenge. He's competed well. Burn and releases Lewis Hall. He's made a few good runs from left back. Hall then taken down by Norgard 30 yards out. That could be a yellow card for the Brentford midfielder. It's definitely a Newcastle free kick. No further punishment, and just a free kick on the left. Right, let's catch up on some other goals with Newcastle. 3-0 up here. It's just been a goal at the Emirates Stadium, and it's been scored by Everton. So Arsenal are losing 1-0. It's not going their way. Idrissa Gana Gueye for Everton. Liverpool against 10-man Wolves. 1-0 to Jurgen Klopp's team. Alexis McAllister. And Crystal Palace 2, Aston Villa 0. A second goal for Jean-Philippe Mateta. And the only 0-0 is Brighton Man United. Newcastle looking for a fourth. Murphy runs over it. Hall swings it in. Flicked away. Bruno, edge of the area, far right-hand side, back to Kraft. 35 yards out. Infield to Murphy. Away from Wissa.
Look at the
to
room he's
Joelinton.
got.
Murphy again, just outside the box. On the left wing is Harvey Barnes, who got Newcastle's first goal of the afternoon. Murphy, who got the second, back to Barnes. Longstaff, still outside the penalty area, United. A lot of Brentford defenders back. Bruno clips it in. Tony heads it into the hands of goalkeeper Flecken.
It's been his best header of the day, that.
Gerald Kwanzaa, the young defender, has got a second goal for Liverpool, 2-0 against Wolves. It's Jorgensen back to Flecken. 43 minutes. Well, they like to end the season in London, don't they? It was Chelsea last year. They had Fulham a couple of times in the Premier League, once under Rafa, 4-0, and then a one with a 2-0 win, which was at the end of the behind closed doors season. There were no away fans, but there were some home supporters. It was Burnley 2 years ago. A lot of these end of season games haven't had anything riding on the outcome, but today's does, and they're doing their bit, Newcastle. Dan Burn and Joelinton are 1-2. It's so easy.
It's embarrassingly easy.
Bruno, that's late from Tony, and it's a yellow card for Tony. And Simon Hooper just pushes him away from the scene of the crime. Bruno holding his left leg, rolling around. It's a nasty challenge, just unnecessary, because he's got no real chance to win the ball. They are deciding whether or not to send the physio on. They're going to help him up, Bruno. Arsenal have equalised against Everton 1-1. Takahiro Tomiyasu. So they still have hope, but they need to win, and they need West Ham to come back against Manchester City.
Yeah.
What price will he give me on Arsenal winning the title now?
What price do you want?
Longer odds than Brentford.
Yeah.
Improving.
Yeah.
3-0 to Newcastle. After a dicey start, with a goal from Tony disallowed, they have taken total command. They've got this free kick a long way out. Bruno's up and on his feet, seems to be moving okay. Is Fabian Schär going to hit this? 35 yards, central position, minimum of 5 minutes. It's Joelinton to the right to Kraft. BBC Radio Newcastle, minimum of 5 additional minutes. Bruno went for the through ball, cut out. He's looking for Longstaff, back to Schär on halfway, left-footed ball towards the right wing. Norgard or Janelt actually stooping, intercepts, given away to Lewis Hall.
Honestly, they're absolutely...
Joelinton in behind, Isak onto it, held up by the defender, but still Isak, saved by Flecken. Well, it was a great first touch, and the ball was fired up to him, took him to the side of the defender, who then made it difficult, drifted in Isak and got the shot away right-footed, but Flecken made some sort of save. With the sun in our eyes, not entirely sure if there was a deflection as well, but that could have been a fourth and a second for Isak.
Could have been. They're abysmal.
Right. What price are you going to give me now?
Away
because
again.
West Ham have pulled one back at Manchester City, 2-1.
Still give you the same.
Ball over the top from Brentford. Pope lets it trickle into the box, picks it up, rolls it out to Bruno. Isak currently standing offside. Newcastle 3-0 up. Isak now back onside. Longstaff to Bruno. Miscontrols, but then gets it under no pressure. Same with Isak. Back to Bruno. Longstaff. It's all Newcastle. And they want a fourth before the whistle for half-time. Isak just outside the box again. To Murphy. Looked for Longstaff, it's blocked. And then Murphy blocks Reguilon's clearance. Brentford have a throw.
There's just so much space and room. It's embarrassingly easy, it really is.
Mohamed Kudus has scored West Ham's goal at Manchester City. Fabian Schär wins a couple of challenges. Joelinton to Barnes, back it's to Bruno, and Isak just eased out of it by Reguilon in the box. And there's a bit of space for Brentford to attack up the right-hand side as they cross halfway. Roerslev going beyond Jensen and into the final third, and Burmo takes over. High ball, just going to drop onto the chest of Reguilon, who crosses to the back post, headed over. Brentford's top scorer, Johan Visser, got on the end of it, but his header cleared the crossbar.
Yeah, it was a chance, wasn't it? Ball dinked in, back post. Just doesn't get over it. Jumps a little bit early, actually. He's heading it on the way down.
2 goals to bring you in the match between Luton and Fulham. It's 1-1. Adama Traore for Fulham, and Carlton Morris with a penalty in response for Luton. So there were, earlier when we said there was 1-0, there were 2. Brighton Man United and then Luton Fulham, but since been 2 goals at Luton, 1 apiece, and it's still goalless at the Amex Stadium. Roberto De Zerbi's last match with Brighton, he's leaving. He announced yesterday.
Oh dear.
Given away on the near side again by Brentford. This is where all of their poor play is taking place, isn't it?
There's just so much room all over the park.
Bruno with a switch to Kraft. In the final third, the left-back Lewis Hall is right central midfield. He's beaten a couple of players and then passed it to the feet of Barnes just inside the penalty area. Back to Joelinton. Brentford push up slightly. Byrne to Bruno. We're in the final minute of the 5 at the end of the first half. 3-0 Newcastle. Chance of a counter-attack. As United have lost it. Joelinton can't challenge, he's on a yellow card, and Burmo gets away. Hall back with him. Takes the ball, Lewis Hall.
Well played, young man.
Harvey Barnes holding off Jensen, who's pulled him back. And Raul Jimenez has made it Luton 1, Fulham 2. Fulham back in front, and Matthias Jensen, on his 100th Premier League appearance, gets a yellow card for the pullback on Harvey Barnes.
And he laughs about it. Dear oh dear.
I don't think
Not too sure he's got too much to laugh about.
I don't think I've ever been in a match that's felt more end of season, that's felt more on the beach than this for Brentford.
Oh God.
There is the half-time whistle. Newcastle lead 3-0. Ivan Toney had an early goal disallowed for offside after a VAR check, but he wasn't the player offside, it was in the build-up. Newcastle have also had one chalked off for offside. Longstaff deflected shot, but Isak in the build-up was just ahead of the last defender. And they have scored 3 goals that have counted. And they're in total control, John Anderson. Could have been a nervy afternoon. They do need a result, and you can't see anything other than a big Newcastle United win, can you?
No. I mean, Brentford look like they want this game to finish. It looks like they're already on the holidays. There's no urgency about them, finding plenty of space in midfield, so much room in midfield. Brentford players aren't getting close to anybody. They started brightly, had the goal disallowed, but from that moment on, it's been all Newcastle, and it's been very, very comfortable. It's been very easy. We haven't had to be great. You know, it's been, as you said, it's been a typical end of season game that you would expect with absolutely nothing riding on it. And from Brentford's point of view, they've got nothing riding on it, but they've been absolutely abysmal. And
just quickly before we go back to Colin White in the studio at half-time, Pope back in goal, made one save from Toney, which was important at that time in the match, even though you might have expected Toney to produce a better finish. Joelinton back as well. He's on a yellow card, so he needs to be careful.
Yeah, he does, yeah. And he went down, referee wasn't having any of it, and he's warned him, so yeah, he does need to be careful. Pope back, he's made the save. We've seen him do it with his feet before, but Toney really should have done better. But it's been a nice day out in the sunshine here, I have to say. It's been no tension about it at all. It's, you know, you thought it might have been a little bit tense, but it's been very, very comfortable indeed. Well, enjoy the sun during half-time. We've got the second half to come, and then a phone-in after the match. A couple of statistics. Newcastle have scored now 101 goals this season in all competitions. Jacob Murphy's second goal here today. The second goal the team scored was their 100th. Alexander Isak with the 101st. And they've set a new club record in the Premier League, Newcastle, for goals scored in a single season. The previous record was 82, but that was in a 42-game campaign in 93-94, the club's very first Premier League campaign. They now have 84 Premier League goals in 37 and a half matches, and you would not bet against them adding to that total in the second half. It's been everything that they would have wanted it to be, and as it stands, they're going to stay in 7th and be in the mix for Europe at the end of the season, but maybe needing something in the FA Cup final. At half-time in London, it's Brentford 0, Newcastle United 3.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Morning, Matt.
What are you doing this morning, Brenda?
We're doing some stripping.
Some stripping? Oh! On Friday morning, I do this show in my pants, Brenda, so this is perfect.
Rebecca's been getting a new flat. It's got a lot of wallpaper on, so we've been having to strip the walls.
This has got really awkward now, Brenda, because you're stripping wallpaper. I'm now sat naked in the studio here. It's kind of a bit awkward now, Brenda.
Well, I have got my shorts on.
Brenda, that will absolutely do. Brenda's there.
Matt Bailey at breakfast. Back Monday morning
from 6.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
And Newcastle United lead 3-0 at Brentford at half-time. Harvey Barnes, Jacob Murphy and Alexander Isak. The 3 points are all but secured. It is now down to a couple of other results where Newcastle United will finish in the Premier League table and whether they will have guaranteed themselves European football in about an hour's time. Let's run through the other scores in the Premier League. All the games kicked off at 4 o'clock. All of them have now reached half-time as well. The ones that really matter in terms of European qualification. Chelsea lead Bournemouth by a goal to nil. Moises Caicedo, after 17 minutes, scoring from the halfway line after the goalkeeper was a long way out of his goal. That's the only goal of that game. Manchester United are drawing 0-0 at Brighton, and it doesn't affect Newcastle directly, but Spurs are also winning. They are 1-0 up away at Sheffield United thanks to Dejan Kulusevski. It means that in the table, Chelsea are still 6th on 63 points, Newcastle still 7th on 60, and Manchester United 8th on 58. So as it stands, even though there's a lot of football to go in the second half, As it stands, Newcastle United will have to wait until the FA Cup final next weekend to find out whether they have qualified for the Europa Conference League or not. But, like I say, lots to happen in the next 45 minutes, including a title race that is really, really going to go down to the wire. Manchester City are 2-1 up on West Ham. If they win the title. It's as simple as that. They were 2-0 up after 18 minutes when Phil Foden had scored twice. And then after Everton took the lead and were 1-0 up at Arsenal, thanks to Idrissa Gueye, it sort of looked all over, and then a couple of goals in the last 5 minutes of the first half, and maybe it's not all over yet. West Ham have got one back through Mohamed Kudus. Arsenal have equalised as well through Takehiro Tomiyasu. It does mean, though, Arsenal still have to win and Manchester City not win for the title to go to North London, but it is a very interesting 45 minutes at that end of the table as well. Less interesting in many respects down the bottom of the table. It was going to take an extraordinary set of results, and it's just simply not going to happen now. Nottingham Forest are 2-0 up at Burnley. Chris Wood, former Newcastle striker, has scored both of those. It means that they are safe because Luton also are losing 2-1 at home to Fulham. That was despite an equaliser from Carlton Morris from the penalty spot. Raul Jimenez gave Fulham a 2-1 lead. Adama Traore had given them the 1-0 lead. So that looks as though Luton are going to be relegated. And in the two games that have very little else riding on them, both home sides are 2-0 up. So Crystal Palace 2-0 up on Aston Villa. Jean-Philippe Mateta with both goals. And Liverpool 2-0 up on Wolves as well. Wolves down to 10 men after Nelson Semedo was sent off. And then their goals were scored by Alexis McAllister and Jarrell Quansah. But plenty still to happen in the Premier League in the second half. One game that has already finished is the League Two playoff final at Wembley. And Crawley Town are back in League One, back in the third tier for the first time since 2015 because they beat Crew Alexandra 2-0. Danilo Orsi in the first half, Liam Kelly in the second. Adam Campbell, formerly of Gateshead, playing for Crawley this afternoon, and they are promoted to League One. They're getting towards the end of the games that really matter in the bottom six in the Scottish Premiership. It's Livingston 1, Hibs 1. That one doesn't really matter. That is a full time, actually. St Johnstone, though, are now leading 2-1 at Motherwell. That has finished. It means that if Ross County don't win, and they're currently drawing 2-2 at home to Aberdeen in the last few minutes, if they don't win, it means that Ross County are in the relegation playoff, and St Johnstone have saved themselves on the last day of the season, but they haven't finished at Ross County yet. Yesterday, a different league title was decided. Chelsea won the Women's Super League by beating Manchester United 6-0 on the final day of the season at Old Trafford. It means they lift the title despite Manchester City beating Aston Villa 2-1 in the other game at the top of the table. So Emma Hayes departs Chelsea, having won 7 WSL titles.
It's an emotional week, really. Probably a roller coaster 7 months, and as I said before, staying on top of your own emotion is really tricky. You know, I'm just relieved it's over.
I don't think many people could have predicted which way the title was potentially going to go today, but after 2-0 up within 7 minutes, did you have a good idea it was heading back to South West London?
Yes, I think so. We've had some big injuries this year, and having all the leaders on the pitch I felt was absolutely essential. It's a big occasion and you need the experience, and everybody delivered today.
Is exhausted the right word right now?
Yeah, no, I don't think I have any words. It's sort of, I'm probably mixed with a ton of different emotions, and no, it's the end, and no, I won't be with this team or with these fans again, but they're always in my heart.
I know it's been a long goodbye, but you're actually ready to say goodbye now?
Yes, I am. I'm definitely ready. I'm definitely giving everything I've got, and I'm ready for my next adventure.
And that's not far away. How much downtime do you get between now and then?
One day, Monday, then I fly to New York on Wednesday for pressers on Thursday, go to camp in Denver on Friday, and meet with the team after the weekend. Will you allow yourself to cut loose a little bit this evening? Absolutely, yeah. But cutting loose for a 48-year-old middle-aged woman in menopause is called a cup of tea and a quiet booth in the corner. The rest of them, they can use the energy.
Yeah, and I suspect they did. That's the Chelsea manager, Emma Hayes, there, no longer Chelsea manager, of course. She's leaving to take the United States national job. That was her chatting to Joe Curry after yesterday's WSL victory. To cricket then, Durham have been set a target to beat Lancashire in Blackpool on day 3 of their county championship match. But Martin Emerson, it is a fairly hefty target.
It's as hefty as they come, I would say. The target's 475. The only time they've got anywhere near that in a fourth innings was back in 2004 when they chased down 453 for 9 at Taunton, winning by just the 1 wicket on that occasion. So if they were to pull it off here, then it would be something pretty monumental. The declaration from Lancashire came with about 2 overs to go to tea. There were 353 for 9 when Matty Hurst was out for 30, so they pulled the plug on their innings then. We saw a lot of overs from Ben Stokes today. He took 5 for 98, bowled 20 overs in this innings, and indeed in the match he's bowled 38 overs. He bowled more overs today than I think he was expecting to originally, because Matty Potts was unable to bowl today because of a sore toe. And it still looks like a very good batting track, to be honest with you. So a lot of overs from Ben Stokes, 38 in the game. He's taken 7 wickets, conceded 169 runs. He could have had more wickets, but 2 of them, 2 catches, fell to no balls, unfortunately for him. Now Durham have got off to a very good start in their reply. They are currently 60 without loss after we're in the 11th over now. So Scott Borthwick, he has just been dropped in the slips on 21 off the bowling of Nathan Lyon by Luke Wells, but he's on 22. Alex Lees currently at the other end is on 30, and Durham have just, I think, just gone to 60 without loss.
Martin, thank you very much indeed. Commentary continues on the BBC Sport website and app. Now, in Rugby Union, the Newcastle Falcons season ended with another defeat. They have failed to win a Premiership match all campaign long, beaten 54-14 at Gloucester yesterday. That's 18 defeats from 18. Here is their Consultant Director of Rugby, Steve Diamond, speaking to our Rugby Union commentator, Dean Gray.
Steve, that was a game in the sunshine, 26-14 at half-time, in with a shout, but second half just Gloucester ran away with it, didn't they?
Well, I think we've got to look at it before that first half. We gave Gloucester 3 opportunities from turnover and they scored 3 tries. And we had a lot of possession and territory in the first 20 minutes and couldn't convert. Story of the season, really. Gloucester turned up in form, you know, home game, last game. They've got a big final next week. They took a bit of grief last week after putting their team out what they put out, but fair play to them. It's difficult to win a cup in England, and good luck to them next week.
And the positives you can take from that, obviously it's a big scoreline at the end, you know, and Gloucester get ahead and start to transition that game that do so effectively from defence into attack. They can run away with it. Positives you can take, scrum went really well.
Positives, I'm going to Mallorca on Wednesday.
Okay, there's got to be a bit more than that, but we'll take that on for the minute. Recruitment in the summer, Steve, the Twitter sphere is awash with rumours about a former Scottish international. I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
Yeah, well, there's no substance to that at all. What we're after at the minute is people who've got vast experience within the Premiership or similar competition, who are hard-wearing, durable, and won't let results like today and the last season happen on a regular basis.
And you know, how many players are you looking to bring in? I know you've got 4 or 5 that you've signed already, but I presume there's going to be at least that number again?
Maybe not that many, but 8, 9 in total, yeah, definitely.
And the summer, you're giving yourself a break down to Mallorca, then back when you start again?
Well, we start in 6 weeks, basically, so the lads will have some good time off. They've got a transitional programme to keep them fit, and the real hard work for me starts now.
Steve Diamond there talking to Steve Diamond talking to Dean Gray, but we're heading back to Brentford where Newcastle are 3-0 up uncomfortable. Second half commentary with Matthew Raisbeck, and John Anderson's up next.
Half-time highlights.
Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Into Bruno again. Digs out the cross, headed into the top corner. Harvey Barnes is there to give Newcastle United what could be a vital lead. The ball clipped into the box and Barnes made a good run, connected with it, and the header makes it Brentford 0, Newcastle United 1. Oh, it's a slip from the defender. Isak gets away. There's another covering player. He's got it in the penalty box. Squares it. It's turned in. They've got a second goal. The cross from Isak converted by Jacob Murphy, who has his 3rd goal of the season. A slip from Brentford. Isak got after it. Couldn't finish the chance himself, but laid it on a plate for Murphy at the back stick, who put it into the net. And it's Brentford 0, Newcastle United 2. Yeah. Murphy's won the ball back on the far side. Bruno onto Alexander Isak. It's 3. They are running away with it. And in a match that they need to win to make sure they are in the mix for Europe, come the final whistle on their season. They have a 3-0 advantage before half-time.
Total Sport North East.
Matthew Raisbeck and black and white legend John Anderson.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Perfect timing, because here are the two teams. Newcastle with the 11 that started: Pope, Kraft, Cher, Byrne and Hall, Longstaff, Bruno, Joelinton, who's on a yellow card, Murphy, Barnes, Isak through the middle. Bench of Dubravka, Dummett, Trippier, Wilson, Ritchie, Almiron, Anderson, White and Alex Murphy. No Anthony Gordon today. And Brentford, Flecken in goal, Roerslev, Jorgensen, Pinnock, Reguilon, Jensen, Norgard, Janelt and Burmo, Wissa, Tony. No changes for them at half-time either. Newcastle lead 3-0 here on BBC Radio Newcastle. The Brentford bench, Valdimarsson, the goalkeeper, Mope, Sharda, Godos, Lewis Potter, Damsgaard, Trevitt, Yarmolyuk and Konak. There are 1,700 away fans at Brentford, part of a crowd of just over 17,000, and the weather is glorious.
Get the deck chairs out.
Well, for much of that first half, Nick Pope could have been on one, could have been on a sun lounger, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Fairly gentle return to the team for the goalkeeper. Will there be a Brentford response in this second half? They're attacking, and they win a corner on the right-hand side, shooting towards the left as we look. Newcastle will be attacking the goal, which is close to the away section. And green shirts, white shorts and socks for Newcastle, red and white stripes, black shorts and black socks for Brentford. Everybody has been brought back to defend. Left-footed corner from Reguilon into the 6-yard box, up from Dan Byrne. It reaches the edge of the area. A Brentford header, then Cher tried to get Barnes away, but Jensen was backtracking and intercepted. Christian Norgard with a cross. Decent header from Wissa in front of Byrne, wide of Pope's left-hand post.
Yeah, another chance. He had one in the first half, Wissa. Got up a little bit too early on this occasion, just flicks off his head. May well have beaten the goalkeeper as well, because he looked like he'd lost his foot and just slipped as the header comes in. Goes the wrong side of his left-hand post.
Brentford 0, Newcastle United 3. If there are any more goals in the Premier League, and I reckon there'll be a few. There's always loads of goals on the final day.
Yeah, there always is, yeah.
Always.
It's because people are on the beach.
It's a pretty crowded beach.
Yeah.
You've got all of Brentford and one or two other teams maybe. Still a few things to be finalised, including European qualification. Chelsea in 6th, Newcastle still in 7th as it stands. Wissa, oh, he's found a teammate in the middle, and they pulled one back in the 48th minute. Brentford, after a disastrous first half, have started the second in strong fashion, and bitterly Janelt, left-footed, middle of the box, guiding the ball into the bottom corner. Brentford 1, Newcastle United 3.
Good finish, really good finish. I mean, they work it well, play through the lines, coming on to it, he just boom, left foot, bang, hard and low, bottom right-hand corner.
No clean sheet for Nick Pope. Newcastle on the attack from the kickoff. Murphy on the near side. Norgard to Reguilon, up to Janelt. Tony inside. Wissa helped over halfway. Byrne stretching, couldn't get there. Hall back to Pope. Jensen's going to close him down. Pope with a kick into Brentford's half, but no green shirt there. And Reguilon, he's got the sun in his eyes.
So he says.
And I believe him. It's affecting us when we have to look the other way. He sliced his... Well, was it a clearance? Was it a pass? It's gone out on the near side. Newcastle throw. Emil Kraft to take. Isak stooping on his chest, back to Kraft. It looks like 6th place maybe out of reach. Chelsea are 2-0 up on Bournemouth. 6th guarantees Europe. That's where Chelsea seem most likely to finish. But the team in 6th won't know which competition they're going to be in until after the FA Cup final. 3-1 Newcastle, and it's 3-1 to Fulham at Luton. Raul Jimenez has scored again, and Raheem Sterling got Chelsea's second. Newcastle with the ball on the left. Barnes couldn't take it though. Brentford into the box. They might have another opportunity here with Wissa. Goes down. Referee.
He's going to get a yellow card for diving. Rightly so as well.
We've seen a lot of that recently. Happened for Almiron and Enciso at St James's in the Brighton match. And Johan Wissa punished by Simon Hooper. He says that was a dive.
Not too sure it was a dive, but it's gone down on one knee. It wasn't, but he's got up straight away.
Decision stands, and it's Newcastle free kick. Maybe there's, I don't know, just being more of it. Maybe there's a clamp down on it. Pope's kick. Oh, the defender let it drop behind him. Isak tried to get onto the second ball.
Two centre-backs have been woeful.
Pinnock
again. He's been absolutely awful.
Well, the Brentford fans player of the 8th, and Pinnock let it go over his head and it bounced, but it sort of held up, and Isak almost got in behind, but Pinnock managed just to nod it to the keeper. Jacob Murphy. Newcastle are on the attack. Bournemouth have one back at Chelsea. Enes Unal has scored. It's 2-1. Kraft, deep cross. It's beaten everybody.
Not the worst. Not enough green shorts in there though.
Throw on the far side. 3-1 Newcastle lead. Up the line from the throw. Out by the big man. Not only out in terms of the perimeter,
it's out of the ground.
It's cleared the top of the stand. Now Byrne penalised for a foul on Wissa, near to the corner of the box. Referee's reaching to his pocket. It might be a yellow card for Dan Byrne. Brentford players surround Simon Hooper. They want him sent off. He's been booked for what was presumably a pull, tug. He was away.
Yeah, he was away.
Is that a yellow card for a Brentford player as well? For Janelt? Maybe for dissent? Not sure. We'll get that double checked. Should have brought a cap. Now our goalkeepers fear when they got the sun in their eyes. Well, having already conceded in the first half and seeing their 3-goal lead reduced to 2, set piece to be defended by Newcastle. Nick Pope, middle of the 6-yard box, everybody else near to the 18-yard line. Wissa around the back, Kraft keeping an eye on him. Jensen with a right foot and Burmo left foot. Jensen, it's flat towards the near post, headed away, back to the Danish midfielder. He gives it to Mbermo. It's not a good ball into the box. Isak's got it, but then lost it. Tony with a through ball to Jensen, who slips. Goal kick. Very pleased to see the arrival of that thick grey cloud that's just obscuring the sun.
Yeah.
Now we can see properly what's happening.
Yeah, it was a bit bright, wasn't it, that sun?
It was.
It's like you're heaving it.
Pope into the Brentford half, long goal kick, header from Pinnock, Hall to Byrne, looking for Barnes inside to Joelinton. That's a good ball. They can go here, Newcastle. Murphy to the right. Isak played forwards into the box. Good recovery. Pinnock got it spot on this time, slid in, and it's a throw level with the penalty area far side.
Yeah, he needed to make that, didn't he? Gets that wrong. It's a penalty and a yellow card, or a red card I should say.
Isak gives the ball to Hall. Playing again Newcastle. Bruno floated into the penalty area. Reguilon backpedaling, just got there to strain every sinew to connect with the ball, and he's challenged Murphy for a second time. Newcastle have a throw. Kraft to Murphy. Back heel towards Bruno. Janelt gets his big frame in the way, and it's cleared, and Cher with a header on. Bruno on his chest. Oh, it's beautiful from Bruno. Took it on his chest and managed to manoeuvre himself away from Norgard, and Norgard pulled him back. Free kick. 40 yards out. Cher up the line. Kraft takes a touch. Could deliver the cross. He's trodden on the ball, but he still found a pass to Murphy. Bruno inside, 5 yards from the area. Longstaff look to return it to Bruno. Brentford have it. Janelt with a drag back and a flick. Norgard to Pinnock. Bruno closing down the back pass. Flecking out to Reguilon, who chests it and then passes it up to Tony. Cher makes the challenge. Referee says it's a push in the back.
Yeah, he's all over him, isn't he?
Newcastle lead 3-1 in the 56th minute and are holding on to 7th place. It's still 0-0 Brighton Man United. There's been a couple of other goals, we'll tell you about them in a moment. Elsewhere, it's Wissa, edge of the box. Johan Wissa, right-footed shot, blocked. Joelinton in the way, and Newcastle try to clear. Bruno fouled by Norgard as he turned. And the whistle's gone. Right. We can tell you that Luton have pulled one back against Fulham. It is now Luton 2, Fulham 3, and the goal scorer was Alfie Doughty for Luton. And the other goal, Crystal Palace 3, Aston Villa 0, Eberechi Eze.
What a run they've had.
Yeah.
Palace.
And I'm sure there'll be a few black and whites who would be absolutely thrilled if either Eze or Elise from Palace could somehow be wearing black and white next season, but there will be a lot of interest in those two. But Crystal Palace on an incredible run, and as it stands, Palace are going to finish in the top half above their rivals Brighton. 0-0 with Man United. Chelsea in 6th winning, Newcastle in 7th winning. BBC Radio Newcastle. We've got a phone in after the match coming up, and post match reaction from Eddie Howe between 6 and 7. Brentford on the right of the attack, yet to deliver a ball into the box. Miguel Almiron warming up in the corner. Chipped forwards by Jensen. Bruno watches it behind.
Too slow. Too slow.
Eddie Howe having a chat with Jason Tindall. Not been much in the way of Newcastle attacking play, has the Rando. Good ball in from Kraft, no one could get on the end of, and Isak was almost away a couple of times after a mistake, and then the second time a good challenge stopped it.
Yeah.
Bruno fouled as he brought the ball away from Newcastle's box. We've already mentioned that Bournemouth have pulled one back at Chelsea. So that one is something we'll be keeping a really close eye on. But Bournemouth would need to win for Newcastle to take 6th place. No change in the title race. Man City 2-1 up on West Ham, so they're going to be champions as it stands. But Arsenal equalised against Everton, 1-1 there. Arsenal need some help from West Ham, and they need to win themselves, don't they? Here's Hall. He's had a cross into the box, cleared. He's carried on. He's run Lewis Hall. Now Harvey Barnes, edge of the area. All good feet from Barnes, and down on the 18-yard line. It's free kick rather than penalty, but it is right on the edge of the box. You can't get much closer to being in the box.
No. After pockets picked again, Brentford. give it away on the edge of the penalty area. Yeah, outside the box.
And they will be queuing up. They'll be fighting between themselves over this because, oh, what a position for a free kick. There's Fabian Schär, who has scored a free kick for Newcastle before. Harvey Barnes, Lewis Hall and Alexander Isak. Jacob Murphy's not involved in this. Kieran Trippier's on the bench. He'd be licking his lips if he was out there. Brentford 1, Newcastle 3. All of United's goals in the first half. Home team pulled one back at the start of the second. And we've played live on BBC Radio Newcastle exactly an hour.
Decent position. Hall, Isak, Schär. Isak walks away.
Well, Lewis Hall, what a great strike in injury time at Old Trafford. Will he do it again from that sort of range, or will Fabian Schär take the free kick? Schär into the wall. Isak on the follow-up. Drags it wide.
Poor free kick, wasn't it? It's a poor free kick. Doesn't get above knee height. Falls for Isak, who's always stretching. Puts it wide.
He's into the wall. Hit a couple of Brentford players. And then a touch off another one. Tony diverted it into the path of Isak, who didn't quite get his angles right. Missed the target. It's Newcastle the closest they've come in the second half. Joe Linton with a powerful run. Referee decides to play the advantage because Isak's turned it round to Hall. Two in the middle. Lewis Hall's cross caught by Flecken.
Yeah, got himself into a good area.
Good advantage played as well.
Referee did well, actually.
Spurs are 2-0 up at Sheffield United. They're going to finish 5th, almost certainly. Pedro Porro has got their latest goal. Wissa rolls it back to Janel to cross halfway from one side of the centre circle to the other. Norgard and Burmo on to Roslev, back to Brian and Burmo. I asked you to keep an eye on Burmo. I don't think he's impressed you too much today. There's a good cross from Roslev. Tony! Big save from Nick Pope. First real test of Pope. Diving either side. And he got across to his right. Got one hand to it. One firm, strong hand to keep out Tony's header.
Yeah, it's a decent save. Not a great deal of power on the header. Got a good hand on it.
Well, Brentford have a throw on the near side and now they've lost it. It's a Newcastle throw. Double change coming from the home team. But that is a really good chance for Brentford to reduce it, the deficit, to just one.
Too close to him, isn't it?
Mikkel Damsgaard is coming on for Brentford, for Mads Roslev. And the other player leaving the pitch is Matthias Jensen, and he's been replaced by Saman Ghoddos, the Iranian international. And Brentford announced this morning that he's going to be leaving the club after this match. It's because his contract is up this summer, so he's on for his final appearance. And I think he's gone to the right side, possibly right back. He is a midfielder, but might be playing just a bit further back. Damsgaard, the young Danish attacker, who did well at the last European Championship. He scored that free kick against England, didn't he, for Denmark in the semi-final. Double Brentford change, no changes yet from Newcastle. 64th minute, Eddie Howe's team lead 3-1. And Manchester City, Rodri have scored again. They're 3-1 up. And it's slipping away from Arsenal, who are still 1-1 with Everton. Newcastle throw at left back. Lewis Hall gives it, gets it back, plays a pass into the box. Nick Pope sprinting across the penalty area, now outside of the box, up the pitch, but it's off the outside of his right boot and out. Brentford throw it back in, and they've got it on the near touchline. Eddie Howe, hands on hips, watching as Bruno wins it back. Isak in the centre. Bruno carries it, tries to thread it through for Isak, but it was a ball that favoured the defender Pinnock, and he's cleared it. Emil Kraft is onto it though. Middle of Brentford's half. Murphy wins a throw. Meanwhile, Crystal Palace 4, Aston Villa 0. Hat-trick for Jean-Philippe Mateta.
He's had some run as well, hasn't he?
What a time it must be to be a Crystal Palace fan. Thrown in by Kraft. Isak flicks it up. Will we see Callum Wilson? Jason Tyndall's calling. Players warming up, back to the bench. Here's Joe Linton, edge of the area. Now Harvey Barnes goes on the outside. Oh, Barnes is cut back, is behind the two Newcastle players, near post. Emil Kraft blocks off Johan Wissa on the attack, on the counter-attack, and gets a yellow card.
Good skill by Wissa. Just blocked them off, didn't he? Flicked it over his head.
Spurs are 3-0 up at Sheffield United. Dejan Kulusevski with his second. Miguel Almiron and Elliot Anderson are going to be coming on in Newcastle's first changes. Callum Wilson's come back to the bench, but is sitting on the bench and is not coming on at the moment. Brentford attacking. Good ball in, left-footed, but caught by Pope.
Bread and butter.
Tony was attacking at the back post, but the keeper just had to move across his goal and got there. Share inside to Bruno.
There's that space again in midfield.
He's got 10 yards either side of him. He's been able to carry it into the final third. Hall on the outside. Back to Bruno. Brentford, everyone bar Tony behind the ball. Joe Linton, who might be about to come off, over to Kraft, and now Murphy. Longstaff with a run into the box at the angle. Kraft to Longstaff, and again back to Emil Kraft, pushed towards the goal line for Longstaff, hammers the ball into the area, and Pinnock smacks it out. Here are the changes. Harvey Barnes replaced by Elliot Anderson. Barnes got them on their way with a header from Bruno's cross, his 5th goal of his first season at Newcastle United. And Jacob Murphy, who got the 2nd goal and laid on the 3rd for Isak, is also being replaced by Miguel Almiron. Nice weekend in London for the Murphy family. His twin brother Josh scored twice for Oxford in the League One playoff final as they won promotion to the Championship. And now Jacob with a goal and an assist for Newcastle United, who lead 3-1 at Brentford.
Yeah, just tighten it up a little bit. Almiron comes to this right side. Anderson goes left.
Joe Linton stayed in central midfield. Kraft with a throw, 20 yards out. Isak into the corner, 2 defenders on him, another throw. Isak's ball to Longstaff, corner of the area. Bruno back to Byrne, front of the centre circle. Listen to BBC Radio Newcastle. Longstaff, Almiron in space, takes it with his left, drags it back and away from Damsgaard, inside to Bruno, back through for Almiron. He could hit it here. He's played the pass to Joe Linton, helped out to the far side. Anderson's not going to get there. It's a goal kick for Brentford, and it's now Luton 2, Fulham 4, the 4th Fulham goal scored by Harry Wilson. Our phone number is 0800 234 6565, and I would love to have a chat to you after the game. 0800 234 6565. You call us now, we can book your place on our post-match phone-in. Tony with a header on to Wissa, who's gone away from a couple of defenders. Edge of the box, Wissa! What a goal! Johan Wissa with a curler has beaten Nick Pope from 18 yards. And maybe this game that looked over at half-time isn't finished at all. It's Brentford 2, Newcastle United 3.
Great finish. It's just whipped it, isn't it? A lot of bend on it. And it just nestles in that bottom corner. Did it come off the post? Tony flick on, just turns inside Dan Bourne. What a great goal.
Such a great strike of the ball. He's lifted it up and away from a couple of green shirts, and it's a shot that starts off quite low, but it dips into the bottom corner. Brentford win it back from the kick-off. Newcastle have got to go and kill this off and go and get a fourth. They were miles ahead of Brentford at half-time, and in terms of a first-half performance, the home team have come back into it quite unexpectedly in the second. They still have the lead. It's a good job they got 3 in the first half. It's a throw for Brentford in the left corner near to their own goal. Reguilon to Damsgaard, back again. Wissa, it's got away from Bruno, but not Cher. Fabian Cher might have been fouled. Referee says play on. Elliot Anderson. Back to Lewis Hall, inside to Bruno. An important goal elsewhere to tell you about in a second. Newcastle still on the attack. Anderson on the touchline. Bruno approaches the penalty area. Longstaff nearby. Bruno wants more movement, needs something. Almiron drifts out wide. Kraft ahead of him, gets it from Almiron. Longstaff tries to come short. It's out for a throw. It's Brighton 0. Manchester United 1. Diogo Dalot has scored, and that means that if Newcastle, as it stands, if they were going to slip up, Manchester United could take advantage. Throw into the box from Kraft. Anderson tries to win a corner. It's cleared from the line from Brentford, and now Damsgaard. Denmark versus Sweden. Sweden wins. Emil Kraft sees it out of play. Eddie Howe is in constant communication with his players as Thomas Frank from Brentford prepares to bring on Neil Maupay, the striker. Crystal Palace 5, Aston Villa 0. Eberechi Eze's got another. Almiron to Cher, back to Nick Pope. 73rd minute. Brentford 2, Newcastle 3. Pope out to Anderson, lifts it up, gets away, might have been pulled back, was pulled back. Godos is going to get booked, is he?
No, he's just saying that he's pulled them back.
Why is a shirt pulled sometimes a bookable offence and not at other times?
No idea.
Neil Maupay and Kevin Schade are coming on, 2 forwards. Kevin Schade, the 22-year-old German striker, replaces Vitaly Janelt. And Neil Maupay is being introduced for Sergio Reguilon. They're going for it. They've taken off both fullbacks.
Got nothing to lose, have they?
Reguilon's final appearance for Brentford on his loan from Spurs. The Manchester United goal, though the players won't know, Ando, it may affect the mood of the supporters. From our point of view, as we're watching and observing the action with just over 15 minutes to play, it's potentially a problem for them. They've got to see this through, haven't they, here, and make sure they win.
Well, then look, that was what they had to do right from the off, you know. As I said beforehand, look after yourself and worry about what's happening elsewhere. There's not a lot we can do about that. We've just got to concentrate on our own
Lewis
game.
Hall, good feet. This is a great run. Hall tripped. Is it a penalty? Yes, it is. Lewis Hall took on Brentford players, broke into the box, down he went. Simon Hooper points to the spot.
What a ridiculous tackle that is. Dear oh dear.
It's the second run that Hall has made. He went forwards a few minutes ago and tried to cross it. It was cut out easily. They got it back, Newcastle, and then he broke again. And Mbermo with the trip. He really hasn't impressed you today. VAR is checking. Are they checking to see whether it's inside or outside?
Of course it's inside. It was a mile inside.
I wonder what they're looking at. There was contact, wasn't there?
Of course there was.
We have no further information other than checking penalty to see whether it's a foul. Well, after what happened on Wednesday night, this is... the referee's given the signal of the VAR screen, and he's going to give a free kick on the edge of the box.
Whoa.
Alexander Isak was getting ready to take a penalty, but now Newcastle United will have to make do with a free kick. Well, at least this foul got spotted, unlike the one on Gordon at Manchester United. There's a replay of it on the big screen. Some groans from the away fans, some boos from the Brentford fans. The players are looking at it, they're pointing at the screen and saying that they think that was in the box.
Well, they can think what they like, they're not getting it.
They're surrounding the referee.
Who are?
Well, players from both teams.
No, they're building a wall.
No, there's... Look at Joe Linton. He's gone after the referee again, and he needs to be careful.
Does.
Yeah. Now Dan Burn is in the ear of Simon Hooper. They're not letting it go, Newcastle. Paul Tierney is the VAR. Well, it was given as a foul, but it's now a free kick. Jason Tindall's had words with the fourth official. The last free kick was from Fabian Schär into the wall. This one will be either Lewis Hall or Alexander Isak. 77th minute. Alexander Isak pushed away. The rebound is in, and the flag stays down. And they have scored a fourth goal and restore a 2-goal cushion. A much-needed goal. It might be a goal that does it for them. It's Bruno, quickest to react after Flecken pushed away Isak's free kick. The flag stayed down. VAR will have a look, but if it stands, it's Brentford 2, Newcastle United 4.
Well, Flecken, it's poor goalkeeping. And all the rest of the Brentford defence just freeze. They don't react. He follows it in, Guy Baresh, and knocks it into an empty net.
Bruno straight to the away corner to celebrate, pursued by his teammates, and he's put on a bucket hat which has been given to him by a fan as he celebrates a goal that they will be hoping is not his last as a Newcastle United player ahead of a summer of speculation. To be fair, it's already started. Bruno Guimaraes makes it Brentford 2, Newcastle United 4. Simon Hooper, the referee, has been having a word with Eddie Howe.
He's booked.
Has he booked Howe or is it Tindall?
No, Tindall is booked.
Well, I mentioned earlier that our replay screen is affected by the sunlight, so we haven't been able to look closely at the penalty situation. It annoyed Newcastle, but the free kick led to a goal, so maybe justice was served there. It's very difficult to see whether the foul was inside or outside the box, or whether it was on the line, which would be inside. Here's Wissa, edge of the area for Brentford, looking for Tony. Well defended by Kraft.
Yeah, good strength.
Kick.
Good strength. He's played well today, him.
Again.
Yeah, it's been steadying.
They're calling for Callum Wilson, who's going to come on in a double switch along with Kieran Trippier. 79 minutes played on BBC Radio Newcastle. Manchester United still winning at Brentford, so Newcastle have to win to stay in 7th for the European race to go to the FA Cup final, where they'd need Manchester City to win. Lewis Hall up the line to Elliot Anderson. Now Isak couldn't hold it. Isak then wins it back, and Anderson involved in a challenge. Brentford regain possession and win a throw off Anderson. Here is the double change. Back from illness, Callum Wilson, for what is only a 20th Premier League appearance of the season. But he scored 9 times in the league. He's going to replace Joelinton. No, he's not. He's replacing Alexander Isak. That was a mistake on the numbers board. So Isak's got his goal. He finishes the season with 25. Not enough for the Golden Boot, the 21 in the league. Could have had another, but for the VAR change with the penalty. He's coming off, and Joelinton is going off, but it's Kieran Trippier who is his replacement. So it's Trippier, Pope in goal. Trippier,
they're going to 3 at the back.
Trippier, Kraft, Schär, Byrne.
They're not the 5 at the back.
Hall is staying at left back or left wing back. Almiron's tucked inside with Longstaff and Bruno. And then you've got, it's more like a 5-4-1, isn't it? And Anderson left, Wilson up front.
Interesting.
Joelinton serenaded as he walks around the pitch past the travelling Toon army. Elliot Anderson has been competitive since coming on, as usual. A couple of challenges, can't keep hold of the ball. Brentford up the pitch and out of play, and it's Newcastle's throw on the halfway line with 8 minutes remaining, and Eddie Howe's team holding on to 7th place courtesy of their 4-2 lead here. Trippier back into his own half to Kraft. Schär up to Almiron and Trippier, and now a ball forwards towards Wilson. Pinnock headed it onto the arm of Wilson. Brentford still have it. Damsgaard wide left to Kevin Schade, who is quick and gets onto it. Kraft with him, and Trippier doubling up. Schade along the side of the penalty area. Back to Norgard. Wissa and Godos, one of the substitutes. Damsgaard, dangerous ball in, just too high for Tony and behind.
Yeah, it's difficult ball. Always going away from people.
Johan Wissa probably going to finish their top scorer on 12. Great goal that he put away today.
Lovely goal. Lovely goal.
Is coming off, and the 20-year-old Ukrainian midfielder Yehor Yarmolyuk is coming on. Oh, 0800 234 6565. Give us a ring now. You can be live on BBC Radio Newcastle on our post-match phone-in with Ando and Colin White in the studio. On X, send us a message at BBC Newcastle. And we'll be with you until 7 with an interview with Eddie Howe to come as well. And hopefully a player, but they have got to get a flight to Australia quite soon, so they're going to be leaving quickly, we're told. 4-2 up. Callum Wilson's on, chasing a back pass. The goalkeeper well out of his box gets there. Eddie Howe said at his news conference on Friday to preview the match that he believes Callum Wilson will be a Newcastle player next season. He expects him to come back, and said many times he wants him to stay. He's going into the final 12 months of his deal. Wait and see what happens. The Their last real opportunity to get a fee for him, unless he gets a new contract. Here's Almiron to Longstaff. Good play by those two. And Wilson takes it under control. 2 defenders with him. Out to the wide position, and Wilson's fouled Godos. Brentford free kick, which has been taken. Neil Mopé, on loan from Everton, the Frenchman. On the left of the attack, now edge of the area. Damsgaard. Yarmolyuk. And Mbomo wide right. Anderson makes a challenge, it's out for throw.
Good defending.
To make one more change, Newcastle. They've won the ball back, it's Bruno. And free to the left, Lewis Hall scampering after it, but Pinnock had a head start and gets there and plays it to the goalkeeper. At this stage of the game, he's been up and down, Lewis Hall. That might have been just a bit too much to ask. Enjoyed his recent performances, haven't you?
Yeah, he's done well since coming in, yeah. Played well again today. Gets forward well, likes to join in. Comfortable on the ball.
Looking forward to seeing him next season in a Newcastle shirt. Sharda, right-footed, whipped cross from the left. Hall diving header away into midfield. 86 played. 4-2 to Newcastle. And Burma wins a corner. And Manchester United have gone 2-0 up at Brighton. And it's Rasmus Højlund who scored their second goal. That's why Newcastle have to win. And it will be goal difference that keeps them in 7th. If they hold on here at Brentford. 2-goal advantage, but a job to be done as they defend this corner. And every green shirt is back, and Burmo left-footed, caught by Pope. I think Paul Dummett's going to come on, and this may well be his last outing in a competitive environment for Newcastle, although he was called back by Jason Tindall, and now they've sent him to warm up in the corner again. So if he is coming on, he's going to have even less time. Header on by Anderson, good one as well for Wilson, left wing. Holds the ball up, wins a throw, 20 yards out. I mentioned to you before the match, I know the links to Brian and Burmo, and I think he's been really effective at times for Brentford, but he hasn't impressed you today.
No. Is he any better than what we've got?
It's not been one of his better ones, but now it's a goal kick after the throw. Dummett will be desperate to come on. Still got Ritchie, White and Alex Murphy as outfield substitutes. Just over 2 minutes of normal time to play. The title's going to Manchester City as it stands, and Newcastle are going to finish 7th. Here's Anderson on the outside. Still Elliot Anderson, desperate for his first senior goal, but dispossessed in the box. It's a good run by Yarmolyuk, and it's ended by Anderson, who got the other side and recovered
well
possession.
Played, young man.
He's done very well since coming on. The physical stuff, the off-the-ball stuff's been brilliant. They've got a 5 at the back, Newcastle, at the end here. Ivan Toney's left wing for Brentford. Where do you think he'll end up this summer?
Don't know.
St James's Park?
No.
And Burmo drags it back, plays it to Jorgensen, and now Pinnock in the centre circle. Forwards to Damsgaard. And the little Dane lays it off, gets it again. Slight frame. Dainty. Damsgaard, here he goes. Godos, wide left now to Sharda. Still Kevin Sharda, final minute of the 90, 4-2 up. Cross from the right, Pope catches the ball from a header, centre of the box from Yarmolyuk.
Yeah, comfortable. Wasn't a great header, was it? Comfortable save.
BBC Radio Newcastle. If you want to send us a message on WhatsApp for our phone in, any thoughts on the match, the season, any other Newcastle topics, stick BBC at the start. You have to do that. BBC and the number 08000 321 333. 08000 321 333. If you're listening on NUFC TV, switch to the BBC Sounds app to hear John Anderson on our post-match phone in. Trippier up to Almiron, just behind halfway. Cher now for Bruno. Sidesteps his man, lays off to Longstaff. Cher in midfield's got a man on his shoulder. Forwards to Wilson, back into the Newcastle half, and Dan Burn. There'll be a minimum of 7 additional minutes. Paul Dummett is going to come on. Fabian Cher's down, holding his hamstring. It's just cramp. He's picked himself up. Longstaff, good run. Wilson in the middle wants it. Might have strayed offside, but the cross is cut out. And Yarmolyuk prevented the throw, but he's dispossessed by Anderson. Been impressed by Anderson since he came on. Trying to win a corner here, Elliot Anderson. Brentford have a player down. It's a free kick for the home side. Anderson penalised. His arm has just caught Burmo. Fabian Cher. If someone gets injured today, Ando, would they miss out on the long-haul flight to Australia and the 2 friendly matches next week?
Might do.
Because they would need treatment, and
yeah, no point in going all the way over there, is it?
Fabian Cher's coming up. The referee's restarted the match, but he hadn't realised they're trying to do the substitution. We're in additional time. Manchester City 3, West Ham 2. Thomas Souček has scored. There is still time, but it's still 1-1 between Arsenal and Everton. Paul Dummett's gone into the centre of defence. This is goodbye for Paul Dummett. It's an 11-year career playing in the first team, and this is a 213 appearance. It would have been a lot more than that, but for several injuries in recent times. Their longest serving player, an academy graduate who's seen quite a lot. Finishing maybe with a team that is on the up. Brentford looking to pull another goal back. But there's an offside flag. If Arsenal could score, it would just make the last couple of minutes interesting if West Ham were to put under pressure Manchester City, but it's not going to happen because the West Ham goal's been disallowed thanks to our old friends at VAR.
Would you buy Tony on today's performance?
I don't think he would fit into Newcastle.
No,
anyway.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Would you?
No.
No.
Arsenal are winning 2-1. Kai Havertz has scored, but West Ham need to help them out. 89 minutes there, so they've still got a bit of time to play. 4-2 to Newcastle here, 94th minute. At least 3 more to play. Lewis Hall wins the ball. Go and get another. Here's Elliot Anderson. Bruno, who got the 4th. Just outside the box. Almiron for Wilson. Holds it up. Still Callum Wilson. He's not had a chance since coming on. Might get it here. Almiron to Trippier. Delays the cross. It's Bruno, edge of the penalty area. It's all really congested. Back to Bruno from Almiron. And wide to Trippier again. Almiron could go up the line, but he needs to stay on side. Back to Bruno. Manchester United have won 2-0 at Brighton. So they have the same number of points as Newcastle, but the superior goal difference will surely be what does it, with a 2-goal cushion here in additional time. Hall on halfway. Across the pitch, outside of the left boot, applauded by Eddie Howe as he finds Kieran Trippier. Lifted over the head of Mopé and back over to Dan Burn, who turns and passes to Nick Pope. The goalkeeper has a couple of touches. Oh, and caught by Mopé. And Nick Pope goes after Neal Maupay, and it's not often you see Nick Pope lose his temper, but he's really unhappy with Maupay leaving one in on him there. He's a wind-up merchant. Dan Burn knows him from Brighton and is getting him away from further trouble, but Nick Pope is now pushing Ivan Toney. He didn't like that, and you can understand.
I think he has every right to go for the ball.
Yeah,
he's waited and he's waited. Got too much protection, goalkeepers.
Maupay yellow carded, and now Pope yellow carded for his angry reaction. Brentford 2, Newcastle 4. Now what's going on now? The referee is having another word with Neal Maupay. And Ivan Toney's having to lead him away. He's always getting under the skin of somebody, Maupay. Nick Pope to take the free kick, but he's too far forwards with it. We're in the 96th minute. And from in front of the D, in beautiful sunshine, Newcastle almost there, 22 degrees. Wilson with a header on, too far in front of Anderson. Brentford throw. It's Maupay, helped on, straight to Lewis Hall. Good run by Hall. It's Anderson, Wilson edge of the area, heavy touch, and he couldn't get a second one. Either a shot or a pass to Almiron, but they were almost in for a fifth there. Trippier back to Pope. Maupay going to close him down again. Forward ball to Longstaff. It's up to the referee how much more time we have. Longstaff forward ball stopped. He's then won it back from Toney, did well. Almiron up the right wing. Good run by Almiron. Wilson inside. Then a tackle on Almiron, fairly from Godos. He stayed down.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's back up. Decided to get up when the referee
didn't give him the free kick.
Was waving his finger at him. Free kick for Brentford. Anderson on Toney. Getting on for 30 yards out, slightly to the right of the centre. Liverpool have beaten Wolves 2-0. Wolves had 10 men for much of the match. Jurgen Klopp saying goodbye with a win. Chelsea have finished 6th ahead of Newcastle. They've beaten Bournemouth by 2-1 after a really strong finish to the season. It's 4-2 to United. Nick Pope's going to face a free kick either from Mikkel Damsgaard or Ivan Toney. It's Toney.
Oh dear.
Should have let Damsgaard take it. The referee puts his whistle to his lips, and that's it. They have finished in 7th position. It might be enough for Europe if Manchester City beat Manchester United in the FA Cup final. Newcastle United will qualify for the Europa Conference League, and they will be back in Europe next season. So it extends the wait, it prolongs their season in terms of discovering their fate for next year. But they had a job to do at Brentford today, and they did that job. They got the victory. They were way out in front in the first half, 3 goals up at the break. Brentford pulled 2 back, but then Newcastle got another just to ease any nerves in the away section, especially with Manchester United winning at Brighton. It's goal difference that separates Newcastle in 7th and Manchester United in 8th. That is what gives them the chance of returning to the continent next season. And for the first time in the Premier League, and separated by goal difference, Newcastle United have finished above Manchester United, albeit on the same number of points. A little statistic that I'm sure will please quite a few black and whites. We can tell you that the title is Manchester City's again. Their win over West Ham by 3-1 is enough to make them champions. Arsenal, last we heard, winning 2-1 against Everton, but that is immaterial because Manchester City are winning and have won. So Newcastle finished 7th. Handshakes between the two sets of players. Celebrations in the away end. Brazilian flags on display. And now the players are going to head to the supporters to thank them. At half-time, I didn't think Brentford were going to get so close to Newcastle with a couple of goals back, Ando, but they overcame that wobble and in the end won by 4-2.
Yeah, very comfortable at half-time. Brentford were really, really poor in that first half. A little bit better in the second half. You never really got wobbly, even at 3-2. You still felt comfortable, and obviously the forward goal wrapped it up. It was comfortable enough in the end, but at the end of a decent season with everything that's gone on. Have to wait and see whether that European place materialises. Got to wait for a cup final, but nice to finish the season with a victory.
7th position and 11 points back from where they were last season after what they've had to come through. It's been, I think, such a draining campaign, hasn't it, with all the problems off the pitch, the Tonali situation, the injury crisis, the pressure on the squad with extra matches. We've talked a lot about the away form, which has halted their progress this season. To come through and finish 7th, I think they deserve huge credit for that. It's not as good as last year in Premier League terms, and they couldn't get back to Wembley either, but for the first time in 20 years they've finished in the top half in consecutive seasons, and it feels like they are established in that upper echelon of the Premier League. And I think when we look back at this season in years to come, maybe it will be viewed with a bit more positivity than it has been at times. Do you think that's fair enough?
Yeah, look, I said earlier in the week that if they finish in a European spot with everything that they've done, you would put it in a par with last season. You know, but now the hard work starts. You know, they've got to look to bring players in the summer. You know, it's be interesting to see how much money is going to be made available for them to actually go and spend. Who do they go after? What do they need? You know, so we'll see. It's been a long season. There's no doubt that those European games took their toll on them. And they'll take the toll on them again next season, because, you know, if they're in Europe next season, they're going to have to play an awful lot of games. They're going to have to travel further than they travelled in the Champions League as well. They're going to have to play Thursday, Sunday. So it'll be really interesting to see how they handle that as well.
Well, if they are in the Conference League, they could be in Scotland or Ireland, but I take your point, there are some teams on the outer edges of Europe, and even in Kazakhstan, in, well, Central Asia. I think it's classed as Central Asia over there, isn't it? Or they could be Armenia, Georgia, who knows? They could be in all sorts of new places if they get into the Conference League. They finish 7th. If Manchester City win the FA Cup, then Newcastle will play Europa Conference League football next season. They'll have to go into a qualification round at the end of August, I think. Aston Villa had to do that last year. If Manchester United win the FA Cup, because they finished 8th and outside the top 7, then they will take the Premier League's final European place, but it'll be a Europa League place for winning the FA Cup, and it would put Chelsea, who finished 6th, into the Conference League. So it's all eyes to the FA Cup final in terms of Newcastle and whether it's more Europe next season. They've done all they can today. It was in their hands a week ago, but and even on Wednesday it was in their hands. Today they required something, and they did so knowing that favours were also needed. Let's see if champions Manchester City can help them out at Wembley. The players are making their way across the pitch, having been with the away fans. Ando's going to stick around until about 7 with Colin White in the studio for our final post-match phone-in of the season on BBC Radio Newcastle. But Total Sport is back tomorrow at 6 and continues throughout the summer. We'll have some reaction from Eddie Howe very soon as well. 0800 234 6565 is the number to call us on, or on WhatsApp, BBC at the start of your message, 08000 321 333. Goals in the first half from Harvey Barnes, Jacob Murphy and Alexander Isak at Newcastle, 3 up at the break. Vitaly Janelt and Johan Wissa got it back to 3-2, but Bruno Guimaraes in the 77th minute, the quickest to react after Alexander Isak's free kick was saved, scored the final goal of the match and the final one of Newcastle United's season, and it means in West London it has finished. Brentford 2, Newcastle United 4.
Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Well, then we thought it might not be definitively decided today, and so it isn't. Newcastle United won, so did Manchester United, so too did Chelsea, which means, as Ray's has just told you, Newcastle finished 7th in the Premier League table, but must wait another 6 days before they know if they've qualified for the Europa Conference League next season. Manchester City must win the FA Cup final at Wembley next Saturday now by beating Manchester United. Everyone in black and white cheering on everyone in sky blue at 3 o'clock next Saturday afternoon. But regardless of whether there is European football or not, 7th place in the Premier League is a pretty good conclusion to the season, is it not? 4th and 7th in successive campaigns. Let's review the game and the season together. 0800 234 6565 to have a chat with John Anderson about today's game and the campaign as a whole. 08000 321 333 for your WhatsApp messages, 08000 321 333, or 81333 for your text messages, 81333. Start them all with the letters BBC, but there is plenty of time and there are plenty of reasons to call. 0800 234 6565.
Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
The FA Cup.
What amazing FA Cup drama!
This game belongs to all of us.
How do you keep your head?
On Saturday, Manchester City. Versus Manchester United.
Left-footed scores, and Manchester United have found a way through.
The FA Cup final on Saturday. Listen on Sounds. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
And we're all a bit more invested than we might otherwise have been now for Manchester City against Manchester United. We'll run through all the Premier League scores and the final table as well in just a moment. But first we go to Blackpool, because in cricket, in the County Championship, Durham have been set a big target to beat Lancashire. Getting towards the very end of day 3, Martin Emerson can tell us how their pursuit has begun.
Yes, well, they got off to a good start. 475 is that target, so if they were to pull that off, that would be their biggest run chase. But having got 83 on the board for the opening stand, Alex Lees then fell to the second delivery of the innings from Tom Aspinwall, the 20-year-old seamer, taking a fifer in the first innings. He got him caught behind when he was on 40, and then in his next over, first ball of his next over, he bowled Colin Ackerman, and he departed for a 5th ball duck. So Durham were 85 for 2 at that point, and then 97 for 3 when the skipper Scott Borthwick decided to try and sweep slog Nathan Lyon, the spinner, and was bowled off stump. At the moment, Durham 113 for 3. We've had 26 overs, so 7 overs remaining tonight, which is just inside half an hour's play. David Bedingham has 22, Ollie Robinson has 3, but this is really now a battle for survival, if nothing else, from Durham's point of view. They've got to try not to lose any more wickets tonight, and then they've got the whole of tomorrow to try and get through as well.
Martin, thank you very much indeed. You can follow those last 7 overs on the BBC Sport website, and that's where to find the live commentary.
Cleared.